I read The Raft by S.A. Bodine. It's about a girl who lives on a remote island, but her plane from Hawaii to her home island crashed, and everybody else died on the plane, even though it was only her, the pilot, and the co-pilot. For a while on the raft, though, she convinces herself that the co-pilot was alive just to get herself through living on the raft and everything, even though he died shortly after the crash. He lived through it. He pulled her out of the water and onto the raft, but then he died. So she ended up after a while on a really remote island surrounded by a reef and a bunch of really dangerous sharks. And there she suffered a whole traumatic experience about a sea lion, which is, yeah. I had multiple connections to the main character throughout the book. I think partially because she's a teenager, so it's super easy to relate to her. But she was fascinated by sharks and wildlife, which I enjoy learning more about too. And when she was in a painful situation, she would think of something worse than that to get herself through what she was going through. In the beginning of the book, she gets her nose pierced, and before she lets the guy pierce her nose, she asks him to tell her something worse that could happen to her. So yeah, which I think I do when I need a reality check, so to speak. I just think of okay, there are people that have it worse than I do, so it's really not that bad. So that was cool. Also in the book, she says flat out that she couldn't handle knowing that the co-pilot was dead because her mind wanders too much when she's alone, and she doesn't like to be alone. Which is one of my things too, is if I'm alone, my mind goes to the worst case scenario most of the time. So that was a cool connection to make. I recommend this book because it was super intriguing, and once I got into it, I just could not put it down. I just read it all in one sitting because it was super interesting. Once I got into it, I just had to finish the book. I knew if I put it down, I'd be really sad, so I had to finish it. It was written really well too. Since the main character was a teenager, it was written like a teenager had written it, which made it better in my opinion, because it was more being in their headspace, instead of an adult writing about a teenager. So yeah, overall I really liked it, and I'm glad I read the book. So yeah.